So today we have an overview of the DJI Air2S, the features, the pros, the cons, what comes in the box, what can you do with such a beautiful piece of tech. Yeah, man, we're a Brazilian photographer and filmmaker living in Italy, and in this channel I help you with the tech tools to be creative. And today's tool is this guy over here, is the DJI Air2S. So let's check quickly what comes in the box, and right after we're gonna go out to test this, as I'm also very anxious to do it. Let's do it. Okay, so this is the combo version, which means that you not only get the drone, the controller and one battery, but also this very cool bag. And first thing off is the drone itself. It comes with this plastic protection for the camera. Arms and the propellers are not mounted yet. They come in the box, then they have some spares also. And you have to mount them. Now this one's got a 1-inch sensor that is way bigger than the Mavic Air, the Mavic Mini, and is the same size as the Mavic 2 Pro, meaning that it's got a fantastic image quality and also much more light sensitivity than these others. Now one other item that is very good in this combo is this 3 batteries charger. Besides, of course, the 2 additional batteries that come in the box. And this means that you can put the 3 batteries to charge. They're not gonna charge simultaneously, it's gonna be one after the other. But anyways, you can put them all together, go to sleep, and when you wake up, it's gonna be all charged. If you don't have this charger, you're gonna have to charge the battery in the drone. And when one finishes charging, you're gonna have to swap it for the other. And there's also this small adapter that allows you to use a power bank to charge it if you want. So the controller is the same as the Mavic Mini, and instead of having those weird clamps below, it's got now this thing on the top that can support the smartphone just here, and the cable comes right inside. So I found it much more practical than the way it was before. Now in the accessories box, you're gonna find the propellers to mount, some extra propellers and some other extra things, and also this really cool set of 4 ND filters, which are gonna be very useful for this guy here. Because on the Pro line, you have a variable aperture, meaning that you can be flying and you can change the aperture like it was a normal camera. Instead on this one, you can control the shutter and the ISO, but you cannot control luminosity with the aperture, meaning that you have to rely on the ND filters. And now before anything, you have to install the propellers, and you're gonna see that they come in 2 different kinds, A and B, and they have precise positions where you have to install them. And it's even gonna alert you that if you put it wrong, it's probably gonna roll over, so just be sure to check the manual to install them properly. Now, first of all, you gotta go inside DJI's website and download the DJI Fly app, which is the app that controls this drone. Okay, the rest of the stuff we're gonna talk while in the air. So first of all, how does it feel to fly it? So for me, it was very fast and responsive. And not only going forwards and backwards, but also up and down. The moment you begin to fly and you shoot it up, it's just like in 1 second, it's so high already. The control is really soft and can really manage to make some smooth motion with the drone using this. Despite also being able to fine-tune it in the app to set how much sensitivity you want in these controls here. It also sounds much more silent than the previous versions. Probably because of the new propellers, because the form factor and everything looks very similar to the previous Air versions. Now the connection between the controller and the drone is one of the most important things you should be looking for if you're getting a new drone. And the transmission itself was very good when I was flying more or less in line of sight in a more open area. So when I did this first footage, it was just perfect. But when I flew to the other side of the park and I'm right here below some trees and there are also some trees blocking my view to the drone, then I started seeing some jittery connection and I started losing control a little bit. So now it's getting behind the trees a little bit and connection is beginning to fail. In all the other moments, and you're gonna see throughout this video, motion was very fluid. So let's see today how far can we get with this one in the air. And also there are 3 flight modes that you can set here in the controller: Cine, Normal and Sport. Or if you want to nickname them differently, it can be Fast, Very Fast and Stupidly Fast. Because they got respectively about 5 meters per second, 14 and almost 20 in Sport mode. Now one could probably ask why use it in a speed limited mode. And this is very useful if you want to do very smooth motions and you don't want the drone just like being ultra responsive and generating some jitter or looking around too much, hence the name Cine. Now the battery is one of the most important things actually in a drone, because if the battery runs out, you actually have to land the drone before it falls down from the sky. I'm gonna put it to the test.
It didn't calculate yet how many minutes. 31. So just by hovering, it says that I have 31 minutes. Let's just take a look around.
You're gonna see that the drone recalculates all the time how much time left of flight you have. When it reaches enough battery just to return home, it's gonna alert you and begin to do so. And when it reaches a critical level, it's gonna begin landing on its own. But as you're seeing, I got the combo on this one that comes with 3 batteries, so it should be enough for more than an hour of flight with no problems. Now another feature that is really important is size and weight. And not only because it's obvious that the lighter it is and the smaller it is, the more practical it's gonna be to carry the drone around, but also because of regulations about flying drones. So this is gonna depend on each country, so you have to check the regulation on yours to see what a drone around the 500 grams range can do specifically there. Okay, so what about photography? So this is a 20 megapixels 1-inch sensor. The raw files from this are very sharp and detailed. I was very pleased to see the results inside Lightroom. And the main option you get here is just to shoot JPEG or shoot JPEG plus RAW. But as you can see in this example on the screen, if you try to recover something from a JPEG, it's very difficult to get back those details. Instead, in the RAW version, you can really bring back a lot of stuff, be it from the highlights or from the shadows. Internally, you have 8 GB of space, but you can also add an SD card, so you don't really have to worry about that. Now, some other modes of photography really resemble what you have on a camera itself. The first one you're gonna see here is the Smart Mode, in which the drone tries to understand what the scene is about and kinda like adjust the parameters to make it the best possible. I found that the results from my tests were good, but not impressive. Now, bracketing is very practical. You can set it to do 3 or 5 shots, and it's just gonna take them really fast one after the other, so that you don't have to do it manually by taking one, setting the exposure up, taking another, then down and again. And also there are some panorama style features in which the drone alone is gonna move itself to take wide angle shots or 180 degrees. Alright, let's talk video. And this drone can shoot up to 5.4K at 30 frames per second. So the white rectangle you're seeing on the screen right now represents the 4K dimension. And now you can see how much more information 5.4K can offer you. It also shoots in 2.7K, which is this size here, and also in Full HD, which is this tiny rectangle over here. So for example, this video you're watching has been exported in 4K, meaning that all the videos taken at 5.4K were actually reduced to fit here, making it even sharper. Instead, the opposite happens with 2.7 and 1080p. They have to be stretched to fit the 4K size, making it even worse. So in the end, it's a decision you're gonna have to make, because 1080p is the smallest resolution, but the drone can shoot up to 120 frames per second. So if you really want to do some cool slow motion, that's the way to go. Now, one thing here is that the 1080p at 120 frames is not accessible under the video tab. I don't know why. It's just another separate option called slow motion. And if you shoot at 5.4K, you have the highest resolution possible, but many functions will not work, like for example, selecting a subject on the screen for the drone to follow around. So it seems like 4K is the intermediate choice that will offer you the best of both worlds. And in 4K, you can go up to 60 frames per second, which is gonna allow you to make a 50% slower version of the same clip in the editing. Now, given that you chose your resolution and your frame rate, you have some other options inside the menu to tweak it a little bit. The first of them is which codec you're gonna use, if it's H.264 or 8.265. Now, actually here there's a catch. You can only access H.264 if you're shooting without any kind of color profile, just in the basic profile, and if you choose MP4 but not MOV. In all the other modes, you're gonna be stuck with 8.265. In theory, 8.265 is gonna offer you a little bit better image quality and smaller files, but also it's gonna be more difficult to edit. Now, another thing that you won't find in this drone is doing HDR video, something that we are using even in smartphones. But it doesn't exist because it's been replaced by a much better tool, which is the picture profile. If you opt to shoot in D-Log, you're gonna have a much better dynamic range, meaning that if the shot has really bright parts and really dark parts, you're gonna be able to put it all together in a much better way and preserve all the details. And also you unleash the 10-bit color mode, in which you have much more flexibility for color grading later. And if you're wondering what's the real advantage of having to color grade the shot later, take a look at this example. So on the left, you're going to be able to see that the gradient from bright to dark is much smoother than on the right side, and this is exactly because of the recording in log mode. Now you're gonna see in the menu there's also the Quickshots option, and this is a way in which the drone is gonna do automatically some very cool shots like doing the droney, going far away and filming fixed on you, or just shooting up and showing you from above, and some other fancy ones in which it's gonna rotate around you and do something. Now just be really careful with this option because this specifically model does not have sensors on the sides, and many of the quick shots are actually circling around an object, so you have to be paying attention not to have anything around the trajectory it's gonna make.
It's not coming at all.
Another super cool feature is the obstacle avoidance, and you can set the drone to stop in front of an obstacle or simply bypass, going around it. In this example, I had the joystick full forward and the drone was just stopped because it had detected that there was something, in this case me, in front of it. When I set it to bypass, it started going slowly to the left, detecting there was a gap over there.
So I'm just pushing forward and it's going sideways to try to avoid me. Alright.
There are several smart modes also, like active track, spotlight and point of interest. On spotlight, the camera will always focus on whatever you set as the target. And on active track, it's not only gonna track the target itself, but also gonna move the drone after the target. It can be in follow mode, in which it's just gonna try to keep the same distance to the target, or in parallel mode, where it's gonna go parallel to the target and following it. On point of interest, it's just gonna circle around the target. This drone also has a FPV mode, in which when you're turning the drone sideways, instead of the camera staying leveled with the horizon, it's gonna twist to the sides to simulate more or less the look of a FPV drone. Now, one thing that I was looking for a lot was the Hyperlapse mode, and this is very well done. Not only it's gonna shoot at the intervals that you set and for how long you want, but you can also set the kind of trajectory that you want. It can be on a straight line but fixed on a subject, or you can even follow waypoints. I tried a couple of them and this is the result. Alright guys, I think this covers the general functions of this drone, and we're gonna begin creating a playlist now with everything much more in detail. So be sure to subscribe to see when these videos come out. Check out my Instagram to see some of the pictures and videos taken with the Air2S, and also to see some of the backstage of the production of these videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao! Hey, I'm back, just to thank you for watching this video, and also to say that the recommendation you're seeing right here is tailored by YouTube to you. They kinda know what you like to watch, and they're offering you this new video, which is probably something cool, maybe related to this video also. So if you just feel like watching something else, check it out.